You may have heard of Fiverr. I always thought it was a site where people make maybe a few $100 a month, but there is a woman who is making almost $500,000 a year doing freelancing on Fiverr. So in this video, we're gonna be checking out her story about how she's making $378,000 a year, maybe giving some suggestions of what she's not doing, and also giving her a lot of props and recognition so that you can copy the story for yourself. Let's dive in.
I doubled my income overnight, and that was crazy to me. At 24, 25, making 14 or 15K per month is insane. You're not even emotionally prepared for it yet.
First step, get hair. Second step, cool hair color.
My name is Alex Fasulo. I'm 28 years old, and I make $378,000 per year as a freelance writer on Fiverr.com.
When I was 28 years old, I was making around $70,000 a year. One thing that I always do a timeout on is when someone says, hey, I make $400,000 a year, I'm always like, well, how much are you actually taking home? 400 or 1 million or 10,000? It's like, well, what's the actual profit? What's the actual take home? Two other things I want to highlight right here. First off, she's been doing this for 5 years. She started in 2016. We're in 2021 today. How long have you been working on your craft? So it's really impressive that she's been dialing in what kind of projects and really working on it. The second thing is no one's limiting how much time you want to put in. If you want to be a YouTuber, if you want to be a Fiverr, if you want to be a podcaster, if you want to be a woodworker, whatever it is, you can work as many hours a day on weekdays, weekends, as much as you want to be able to make the amount of money you want. And so I'm guessing that she put in a lot of work, I'm hoping she did, to be able to get to this amount of revenue. She charges $1,000 for a 10,000 word ebook. How long do you think that takes to write? A lot of people are like, man, I'd love to make that much money. But not a lot of people are saying, hey, I'm willing to put in the work required to make that much money.
From large corporations that you've heard of, down to entrepreneurs or influencers or people who manage their influencing dog on Instagram. I've written ebooks for quite a few dogs.
One thing that's an interesting marketing thing that I would recommend her doing is that once you kind of find some of these direct clients, see how you can get long-term agreements. So if you're doing one ebook for maybe AppSumo.com, how can you make it a 12-month agreement where each month now you're getting 1 to 2K guaranteed, so each week or each month you're not having to go and hunt for new clients?
I've been able to take 60 hours worth of work and kind of squish it down to 40 hours because I kind of have my system down so well.
So one thing I gotta highlight is we are hiring at AppSumo.com for writers, as well as for this YouTube channel, we're hiring more writers. I wonder how she starts turning this from, hey, I'm writing a bunch of different types of books, to maybe she's building her own brand up so people know about her and they're like, hey, I will pay a premium because I know that Alex is the expert or the most brand or the best known or the best able to output products like this. This girl has got heart. I like her persistence. So for yourself, how much are you really going after the things you really want? And one thing I gotta encourage you to build up your persistence and your ask muscle or your fear muscle is go do the coffee challenge, which is you ask for 10% off next time you buy anything. Coffee is generally the easiest. You get rejected, you realize it's not that bad, you feel better about yourself, and you keep going forward.
I accepted this PR job that paid $36,000 per year. I felt so out of place. I was so unhappy, and I was crying on my keyboard that I quit. And I don't normally quit things. And that Monday when I was supposed to go into work, I just couldn't.
So one thing I gotta show you a different alternative is that I am not a burn the bridge and just go forward type of entrepreneur. So what I've done in my career is that I like my side hustles starting to generate money and showing me that they can provide the income I want before I quit my day job. Her approach is burn the bridge and make sure it works out.
After a few days, I had interest on my press release gig, and I was charging $15 for that. And just that interest alone was enough to almost kind of light a fire in me.
One thing I think a lot of us miss out, especially if we're just getting started, trying to get freelancing gigs, trying to get our business started, is look at what you've already gotten paid for in the past. So if you notice what she did to start on Fiverr, not where she ended up, was, hey, I've been doing PR, I was hired as PR, let me offer that as services, and then from there she led and evolved to end up getting books, which seems like a higher paying activity. So for yourself, right now, you can go check out Fiverr.com, you can go to AppSumo.com/sell on the AppSumo marketplace, look at all the services being offered. A lot of times, especially if you're getting started, put it up on Fiverr, but even offer it for free to people in your network, just to start building your skills, as well as start building relationships with potential customers and referrals. If you want more videos from Uncle Noah, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I put out 3 juicy business videos every single week to help you on your side hustle or business journey.
Okay, I am capable of earning $15, $20 a day. Well, what if I could earn $50 a day? What if I could earn $100 a day? Now I'm making $3,000 per month and I can cover all of my bills.
One major concept I want you to be thinking about is your velocity to $1. I can't tell you how sweet the first dollar is. I remember with appsumo.com, our first payment, I'm like, someone believes in me? What we're doing actually could work? So for yourself, can you get $1 from a friend? Can you get $1 just from anyone around you? I encourage you to go try that out. The other thing that she said, it was kind of subtle, is that once she made $3,000, or once she got her foundation right and had enough money to basically cover her bills, that's when you can start getting crazy and going wild. So for yourself, what is your break-even minimum number that you can really be targeting? Because once you get there and you have your foundation, it's like, oh, what other things can I start exploring professionally that I'm really excited about?
That first week on Fiverr, I started to discover that I was capable of earning money on my own without anyone telling me what to do, which means each passing day, the idea of applying to another job just vanished. It just disappeared into thin air.
One of the things that I'm noticing by a lot of people wanting to get their business started is, how do I control my uncertainty? That's been something that's really been fascinating to see. And there are a bunch of other sites. There's Upwork.com, there's Freelancer.com, there's CraigslistGigs.com, there's things on Facebook Marketplace. So there are a ton of places that you can go online to start offering services that you've had or services you just want to explore. Maybe it's photography, maybe it's cooking, maybe it's lawn work, whatever that is. There are so many places online wherever you are in the world. So it's just posting and start putting yourself out, even in a small way, right now. So this is what we were talking about early on. Alex is working 10 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do it. That's it. There's no shortcuts. Sometimes you want the hack, you want the shortcut, but honestly, it's good to put in the work, put in the hours. Honestly, you get the skills, and that at some later point, you can start teaching that and hiring it down to other people.
After about a year of hitting it really hard on Fiverr, I opened way more services. I think I had like 12 or 13 gigs at the time. I was ranked level 2 on the site, and the site has these levels that allow you to charge more as you advance through them.
So one thing, especially if you're just getting started on freelancing or any type of business you're doing out there, just get going. Get some gigs to start with, and then you should start being aware of, like, what are the higher paying gigs? What is something differentiated that I am exceptionally good at that I'm not competing with everyone else in the world at? So I like as she's gotten going on Fiverr, it's like, hey, I'm doing press releases, but maybe there's books, maybe there's social media, maybe there's some piece of it, maybe it's even TikTok descriptions, maybe it's YouTube titles that you can be the expert in and you can actually dominate in one specific category. And as well, you get paid a lot more for that.
Fiverr, the company, actually reached out to me and asked me to come meet them to film a commercial in Greenpoint, Brooklyn.
Really good music. One thing I want to highlight that's interesting that she unintentionally did is that if you're on any platform, if you are following any influencer, if you're buying from any company and you're having a really good experience from it, you can reach out to them to hopefully make a testimonial video, kind of like for her, that makes them look really good and it gets you a bunch of potential customers.
Up until January 2018, I was making around 6 to 8K per month, which is incredible, of course. But it was January into February 2018 when I was launched into the double-digit realm, meaning I was making 13K, 14K, 15K, which was essentially I doubled my income overnight, and that was crazy to me. In 2017, I made $63,000 that year, and in 2018, I jumped to making $273,000.
So what should you be striving for? I think it's A, am I working on things I enjoy? If you're gonna be doing this for the next 5, 10, 20 years, find something you really enjoy doing. The second thing is that it takes some time. I know that I've seen that on a shirt from my buddy Nir Eyal yesterday, is that if you wanna be making 250 or 500 or a million or whatever number that is for yourself, commit to something for some period of time. It does not happen overnight.
It took me a couple years to accept that I was making that money. The only thing that I would say I started to spend more on to treat myself was travel experiences and music festivals.
The only thing I've got to actually give her a little timeout and something to be cautious of is that right now she is dependent on Fiverr. So if Fiverr changes their algorithm, if Fiverr changes their splits, if this marketplace changes, and I've had this, when I was building on Facebook, they banned us. Our company almost went out of business one day. I would definitely encourage her 2 key things. One, start building your own brand and own direct connection with your audience, aka email list. You can check out sendfox.com. My second thing for Alex is I actually think she should be building up more defense, taking as much money as possible, putting in boring ass index funds, maybe putting a little real estate, maybe in a tiny bit in crypto, so that if Fiverr decides to change the things, or if she wants to take time off, she has a little bit more security versus just like, all right, each month I have to be back on the hamster wheel.
My strategy is just basically if I know I'm making like 15 to 20K, I kind of just in my head try and make sure I'm saving at least 50% of it. This year, I'm definitely going to contribute less to my retirement, but I already know my accountant is going to tell me that I should still contribute something because it helps with my taxable income. I use a CPA, like an accountant, hands down. Costs like $1,200. It's worth it to me.
I am curious to see if she's going to start talking about hiring more people or building this off platform. I did like that she talked about 50% of savings. She does have a CPA. I'm surprised she's not talking a little bit more about teams, so I'm hoping that's something that comes up.
The craziest thing happened because while so many people were losing their jobs and so many businesses were going out of business, so many people were coming online to start selling products and services because that was the only way they were going to make contact with other human beings. So they needed someone like a copywriter to help them fill their website, their blog, their social media posts, which led me to having my biggest month that I have ever had on Fiverr in May 2020.
So one thing I want to highlight here is, yes, COVID happened. We all experienced it. It was wild times. But I do think what's interesting is that, are you in a growing category or in a dying category? Let me give you an example. My buddy Lloyd, I love you Lloyd, but he worked in newspapers. They've been dying, the physical prints. Then he worked in masks for COVID. That didn't really do so well. And so what's interesting is that, think about in the next year or 2 years, how big is the market you're working in? Is it going to be bigger? Are more people eating food or less people? Are more people coming online or less people? Are more people creating content or less people? And as long as I've talked about this, as long as you're in a wave that's going to be growing, even if you're just in the wave, you're generally going to do really well. So this is actually really interesting, is that she is starting to move some things off platform. She has her own online course. She's on Shopify. She has private clients. But I like that she's starting to say, hey, Fiverr's been great maybe as lead gen, maybe to get some of the customers, and let me put it to potentially other businesses. So to think about that is, if you have a physical product or if you have a software product, maybe YouTube or Fiverr or Udemy or AppSumo is a great way to start building up your high-level clientele or your top of funnel, and then bring them into your own environment where you can actually have direct relationships with your customers. So I love that she's doing that.
I want to eventually quit Fiverr just because I'm, again, like that classic entrepreneurial type where I get bored. And I would love to transition more into a full-time educator with everything that I've learned.
This is one of the most common entrepreneur traps, which is we get bored. All of us. If you're doing anything, if you're someone creating, if you're solving problems, which is what entrepreneurs do, it's boring at times, because boring means success. And it means that you're doing the same thing over and over and you're hopefully getting great results. So what I'd recommend for you to do is hire a team. I know with YouTube content, I was doing a lot of the things very early on, many years ago when I started, and now being able to have a team of Jeremy and Mitchell and Sasa and Cam and Hubert has made it so much easier. Shout out Jen as well, because I can focus on the videos and the content, and they get to focus on the pieces they like, and it makes it way more sustainable. So don't stop doing what got you success.
I could not in my wildest dreams have imagined that this would be me at 28.
What gig would you do on Fiverr? I'm just kind of curious. Leave a comment below.
Not for a second did I ever think this would be where I am. I did not dream that big.
That is a really interesting thing, and I write about this a lot in my private diary, is that how big are you dreaming? It's one life. Why not go as interesting as possible for yourself? Not externally what other people think you should be doing, but internally, what are some crazy fantasies that you can have for yourself about where you're living, what you're working on, who you're working with? And really explore it. How can I make that possible? I know for me, having a mainstream book, something I was like, nah, I'm never gonna do it. And even now as that's happening, I'm like, nah, I'm still not doing it. And so think about that in your own life and where you want that to be. Just write it out. Don't have to share it. Just make it for yourself.
Hey guys, I'm gonna give you my top 5 time management tips that help me churn out a ton of work every day. Got a lot of love too, and I discovered that there's so many people out there that do wanna freelance, they don't hate me for it, and they wanna learn from me and they wanna learn what I know. Being transparent with what I am earning has earned these people's trust and showed them it is possible. A girl from a farm in upstate New York did it, I can do it too.
Go girlfriend. I like that. Respectable story. I think the last piece is actually just as powerful as the whole message is, why not you? If you put in the work, if you start experimenting, if you take maybe some of the skills or things you enjoy and start putting yourself out there, there's no reason you can't make as much or if not more than her or than me or than anyone else out there. But it's really about how much do you want, what kind of life do you want to live, and start planting the seeds right now. And if you like this video as well, and you want to hear more ways that you can start making money on the side hustle to eventually quit your day job, unless you like your day job, check out this video right up here about 5 side hustles I would start in 2021. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed yet. This is a new type of video, so I'd love to hear your comments, what you guys think about it down below. I love you, and I'll see you out there. Pew, pew.